Hey, Aaron Adams here with Infinity Investing. Investors are concerned about where they're going to get funding for real estate. They're concerned that rates are going up. We've watched inflation drive the price of homes up, and they're concerned that it's going to minimize or even eliminate their ability and potential to invest. And I want to get a little more specific with a few strategies that I have used over the years that can help with that. And we teach these in great length at Infinity as part of our curriculum. First one is seller carry, seller financing. And very simply, the easiest way to explain this is the seller becomes the bank for you. So imagine you own a property for $200,000. You've had it as a rental. Maybe you own it free and clear. Maybe you have a mortgage, it doesn't really matter. If I approach you and say, look, I'd like to buy this property for $200,000 and you agree. And then I say, are you open to seller financing? Are you open to being the bank for me? Can I use you as my lender? And what that means is currently that individual is on the title as the owner. I'm going to ask them move from the owner to the lender. So think about like a car title where it says the lien holder, and that's the bank who you got the loan for the car from. Works the same with property. Those of you that have seen the deed to a home that you've owned in the past, on title will be recorded. That's what your mortgage is. That's why it's called a mortgage. It's a lien secured against the property. And so what I'll ask the seller to do is to go from being the owner and dealing with all the owner-landlord problems like maintenance and vacancy and taxes and insurance and repairs, eliminating all of that and just getting a check from me every month for principal and interest or just interest. Now, I've used this strategy multiple times as a buyer over the years, but I've also used it as a seller. I like financing properties. I've had properties that I'll rent out for 3, 4, 5 years, and then I'll lock in that appreciation. I'll sell it for more than what I bought it for, and then I'll charge them 5, 6, 7, or 8%. There's never been worse returns on putting money in savings, and so a lot of times a seller who's willing to sell a piece of property for $200,000, if they don't have another investment to put it in and they're just going to put it in the bank's going to pay them less than 1% on their money. And so sometimes I'll say to them, they'll say, well, why do you want financing? And I'll say, well, question with a question. What are your plans with the money? Do you have another project you're going to invest in? No, I just want to get this property sold. I'm tired of being a landlord, or for whatever reason, I'm trying to simplify my money. All right, well, why don't you stay on title as the lien holder, as the bank, and let me deal with the taxes and the insurance and the tenants and the maintenance and the repairs, and you can just get a check. It's mailbox money, and I'll pay you 7%. Now, I've had some sellers ask if they can pull my credit. Sure, no problem. Happy to provide that. They'll ask for a financial statement to see, kind of what my net worth is. Don't have a problem with that. And they'll all want a down payment. Now, if the down payment's big enough, I've had sellers say, no, I'm not interested. And I'm like, well, what if I give you 70% down? Well, maybe you don't have 70%, but it gets them thinking, I might be open to this. And if they'll take 70, they'll take 50. And if they'll take 50, they'll usually take 40 or 30. And so regularly, I've been able to get sellers to agree to finance a property for me. And what I'll usually say is, look, I don't need you to do the loan for 30 years. Let's run the numbers as if it's 30 years, but then we can build in a balloon. And what that means is, let's say we do a 3-year balloon. 3 years from now, then I will pay you the balance on that property. And at that point, then I'm going to go out and refi. Now, why is that good in this climate? Well, and there's a good chance that for 3, 4, 5 years from now, interest rates will have dropped again as inflation has backed off and the Fed has reduced the borrower rate. Or in that, at that point, maybe I'm ahead on the property, it's appreciated. There's a lot of benefits for using seller financing to work around the fact that the lenders right now are charging and requiring so much. Another big benefit is they don't do a debt to income ratio. They don't look at my total debts and compare it to the total income and then decide if I fit in a box for them. And you know that in the past, some of those arbitrary lending criteria have been the reason why you haven't been able to get loans, and there are concerns that you have that have gotten bigger with interest rates going up. And so seller financing is a fantastic strategy. Now, along those same lines, another strategy that I like is a lease option. And a lease option is really just like rent to buy, rent to own. And what I'll write in is a lease on the property. So maybe I write it in for 1 or 2 years where I'm going to borrow from you, and then at that point I can choose to buy it, or I can choose to sell it and pay you that buy price. And so I have a commercial building right now that I have a lease option on, We liked the building when we were looking at it to rent for one of our companies in Idaho. I said to the agent, just out of curiosity, would the owners of the building be willing to sell it? And he said, I don't know, I haven't asked them. And the reason I asked is because the building was in really lousy shape. It needed a ton of work. And I knew that the owners knew that as well. And he came back and he said, they're actually open to it. One really is actually really interested in seller financing it, and the other isn't quite so sure. And I said, well, what if we do a lease option? What if I agree to rent it from them for 2 years, and then at that point, they sell it to me? And if they want, they can seller finance it. Now we can combine the two strategies. And they came back and they were very favorable to that, and we wrote it up. And so we have 2 agreements in place. We have a lease, and then we have an option agreement, which gives a specific price and the amount that they will agree to sell it for. Now, what if the property doubles in value in 2 years? I'm still locked in at that lower price. So I may double close it. I may buy it from them and turn around and sell it for more the very next day. So it gives you a lot of flexibility with a lease option as a buyer. And again, turn it around, I also like lease options at sellers. Now, we go through this in great detail at Infinity. We have a whole class called Creative Finance where we go through a lot of these strategies, but not only do we go through it, we give you all the documents. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you click on the link and join me in these trainings so we can break this down for you and show you how to use this. One other thing that I just wanted to briefly mention that could be a possibility for you that are coming back are adjustable rate mortgages. Now, a lot of people lost a lot of money with adjustable rate mortgages in the last crash, but a big reason for that was that we were largely overbuilt in the US. So in 2008, when the market crashed the last time, we had about 4 million properties too many. And we all remember this 50, 60, 70, 80% drop in property values, especially in markets like Miami or LA, where just huge amounts of equity were lost. So people got to their 3-year adjustable rate mortgage and the rate took a huge jump, or their 5-year, and they had to be out of it because there was a balloon and the markets were upside down. Now, one of the reasons why I like adjustable rate mortgages this time around, and why I think they should be another tool that you should consider using, is because they have very low interest rates. So right now, rates on a 30-year fixed are about 6%, but you can still get a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage at 4.5%. So you're getting close to the rates that we saw a year ago. But this time around, 14 years from the last crash, we're underbuilt. We're underbuilt about 4 million homes. So I don't see this massive drop in prices because there's so many sideline homeowners. There's so many people in your neighborhood, in your town, that want to buy, that have a down payment, that have good enough credit, but they don't currently qualify because prices are too high. So if we see prices soften a little, a lot of those guys are going to jump in. We also have Wall Street that has gotten in the game since 2012 for the last 10 years. They're buying up single family homes. They would love to jump in. And then we have a huge amount of international investors that want to be in. I could see the market taking a big drop, but I don't see that happening when we're short millions of homes, and especially severely short in that affordable housing segment. All 3 of these tools, I think, can be a really good way for you to get around this whole problem of interest rates going up. And they're things that we teach and walk you through as part of the curriculum we have at Infinity. So get involved, get signed up, join, and hopefully I'll see you at one of our live events in Indianapolis very soon.